how they use this for political attack on their political opponents, and the smugness from some of my colleagues across the dais. I think they...
The Senate Judiciary Committee hearing turned fiery as Senator Marsha Blackburn unleashed a blistering critique of what she calls the weaponization of the FBI and Department of Justice under the Biden administration. Today, we break down the most explosive moments, from claims of illegal surveillance to the growing debate over a two-tier system of justice. Stay tuned, because what you're about to hear could change the way you see Washington forever.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and AG Bondi, thank you for your time before us today. I have found this hearing to be so instructive because it has pointed out to me the lack of caring from my colleagues across the dais when it comes to how the DOJ under Biden was weaponized, how they use this for political attack on their political opponents, and the smugness from some of my colleagues across the dais. I think they enjoyed it. I think they wanted it to continue. And I think that's why they oppose some of the reforms that you are making to actually get people out across the country and to get them working, and to have people that are actually finding out what the FBI and the DOJ did. You look at what happened with Crossfire Hurricane and the way some Democrats tried to blow that up and make it some big issue and all about Donald Trump and the accusations, and of course, they've been proven wrong. You look at what has happened, what we're finding out about Arctic frost, and the way we were surveilled, and the way Senator Graham, Senator Hawley, and I, we don't know what all they got. We don't know who all they tracked. But to tap our phones, to pull that data, for these wireless companies to have allowed them to have that, and for them to use it in their investigations, how disgusting is that? And their attitude and lack of concern about the weaponization of the DOJ. I've had a couple of colleagues who have been so concerned about some bureaucrats at the DOJ and the FBI being fired. You know what? If they did wrong, not only fire them, prosecute them. And my hope is that as we look at what happened with Arctic frost, that there will be a special counsel, that we will do our due diligence, and that those who did this wrong, this illegal activity, absolutely, they need to be prosecuted, and they need to face the full extent of accountability within the law. I made a note of how resistant they are to reform. And in my opinion, what this shows is that they don't want one tier of justice. What they want is two tiers of justice. It was their play box. They could get in there and manipulate and use it to spy on us. So they saw this as something that furthered their political goal. So I am pleased that you are cleaning house. And those who have not served the American people well, fire them. They need to be gone. They need to be gone. Talk for a moment, just a moment, about what you're doing to end the weaponization.
Senator Blackburn, the weaponization against you and your colleagues should greatly concern all of us. It should concern Democrats, it should concern Republicans. Yet, we don't see that. There was a two-tier system of justice under the Biden administration. We're learning that every day. We saw Jack Smith weaponize the Justice Department against Donald Trump. We saw the Biden administration weaponize the entire Justice Department, all of the law enforcement agencies, against Donald Trump, against his family members, against his friends for years and years, and that weaponization is over. No one is above the law, and there is a one-tier system of justice in this Justice Department.
And we
that's what we
appreciate
will
that.
continue to do.
We appreciate that. And, you know, having vice-chaired the president's transition in 2016, as you remember, there was surveillance that took place on the transition and on the transition team. So this is not the first time, it's the second time. And shame be to those that have furthered those lies and what James Comey did to this country, what Christopher Wray allowed to happen to this country. I want to talk to you about Memphis, the Memphis Safe Task Force. And you, President Trump, Director Patel, the work you're doing there is really quite amazing. I had pulled those latest stats, and we had 503 arrests with the FBI task force in July and August. We've added, with your Memphis Safe Task Force, just last week, 321 arrests, 83 firearms that were seized, 7 missing children that were recovered, 28 known gang members have been arrested, and the list continues to grow. We've also gotten over 120 federal indictments. But this is really quite a success story, and I think that cities like Portland and Chicago are missing out by not having this coordinated, focused effort, and the fact that there are 13 federal and state agencies working together to make Memphis safe again. And we are very grateful about that. One of the things that we are working on is to end a cashless bail. We have a very liberal DA in Memphis that has campaigned on avoiding cash bail. And we had a good hearing on this last week. And we have legislation, Representative Stefanik and I have legislation that would end cash bail, in cashless bail in D.C., and then also would remove funds from jurisdictions that practice cashless bail. Touch on that and the importance of having cash bail for that accountability, keeping those criminals off the streets.
Yeah, Senator Blackburn, first to Memphis. I was in Memphis, as you know, a few days ago with Secretary Hegseth, and we had about 1,100 officers from at least 13 agencies working hand in hand. Your Memphis police officers care. They want to be out there doing their jobs. And what we said is we have federal law enforcement officers now who have their backs. They were thrilled to have us there. The mayor, Paul Young, is working well with us. Of course, Governor Lee was there. You have been a champion of this. Senator Haggerty has been a champion of this. You both, before I was sworn in as Attorney General, you both brought this problem to my attention. You talked to Director Patel, and Director Patel was on the ground right away in Memphis attempting to make Memphis safe. But we knew we needed so much more than that. He put a huge dent in the problem. But Memphis's crime is through the roof, the highest violent crime rate in the entire country. And that's why we went to Memphis. And Memphis has welcomed us. It's an iconic city. And we want to continue to work with Memphis. And we're going to do that just like we did here in D.C. The citizens have been great working with us. Violent crime shouldn't be occurring in any of these cities. And as you said, I don't understand why Chicago, why Portland, why these sanctuary jurisdictions don't want to work with the federal government.
Yeah.
Gangs are rampant. Transnational gangs are rampant in these cities because they're harboring them, no longer under Donald Trump. Whether they want to or not, we are going to come in and make it safe for their citizens, whether these liberal lawmakers want to or not. And you know what I said regarding the DA in Memphis? I said, we're going to protect the Memphis police officers. We're going to take every single case federally that we can, because the DA has cashless bail, it's a revolving door, and no one is being held accountable. Police officers are seeing someone arrested, and they're back out on the streets the next night committing crimes. And Janine Pirro is working on that here in D.C. to change that as well. So thank you for your legislation.
We appreciate that, and the Memphis mayor is doing great. We had a Shelby County official who was trying to dox some of these officers, and she's since taken this tweet down, but she's an elected official. And she goes, attention on Peabody between McLean and Cooper, 4 fed vehicles and a trooper, men in full gear and guns on street. Hashtag pay attention, folks. This is the kind of action that is not called for. I mean, the fact that an elected official would do this is why we have legislation that would make it a crime to dox any federal law enforcement official when they are doing their job. And these apps, and Apple and Google say that they've removed these apps, but I tell you what, these law enforcement officers need to be protected. We appreciate that you are doing that. Thank
Senator
you
Blackburn wasted no time calling out the DOJ and FBI for political bias and abuse of power. She accused Biden's Justice Department of targeting conservatives and manipulating investigations to attack political opponents, especially Donald Trump. According to Blackburn, this wasn't just a political disagreement. It was a full-blown weaponization of America's top law enforcement agencies. She cited Crossfire Hurricane and the new revelations about Project Arctic Frost, alleging illegal surveillance of lawmakers, including herself, Senator Lindsey Graham, and Senator Josh Hawley. Her words were sharp. If they did wrong, not only fire them, prosecute them. Blackburn warned that Democrats' resistance to reform proves they want 2 tiers of justice, one for political allies and another for everyone else. She demanded full transparency and the appointment of a special counsel to investigate what she called illegal activity within the DOJ. Attorney General Pam Bondi responded firmly, saying that weaponization is over. No one is above the law. But Blackburn wasn't convinced. She made it clear that Americans deserve a Justice Department that serves the people, not political interests. Before we continue, if you believe in holding government accountable and want to stay updated on every major hearing and investigation, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Your support helps expose the truth they don't want you to see. The hearing took a turn toward law and order when Blackburn praised the success of the Memphis Safe Task Force. Under a joint federal and state initiative, the task force made over 800 arrests in 2 months, seized 83 firearms, recovered missing children, and brought down violent gang networks. She argued that cities like Portland and Chicago are suffering because they refuse to cooperate with similar federal efforts. Bondi backed her up, promising to keep federal agents in Memphis and saying, whether these liberal lawmakers want it or not, we're going to make cities safe again. Blackburn then took aim at progressive policies, specifically cashless bail. She and Representative Elise Stefanik are pushing new legislation to end cashless bail in Washington, D.C., and strip federal funding from any jurisdiction that allows repeat offenders to walk free. Bondi agreed, calling it a revolving door of crime that puts police and communities at risk. Both emphasized accountability and restoring consequences for criminal actions, a clear rebuke to soft-on-crime prosecutors. One of the most alarming revelations came when Blackburn revealed that a local official had doxed federal officers during an operation in Memphis. She vowed to make it a federal crime to reveal the identities or locations of law enforcement officers on duty. Bondi praised the legislation, adding that police must be protected from both criminals and political retaliation. This hearing wasn't just another round of political theater, it was a public reckoning. Blackburn's message was clear: America cannot survive if its justice system is used as a weapon. As the debate over DOJ reform and accountability continues, one question remains: will anyone be held responsible for years of political targeting? Only time and relentless oversight will tell. If you want more deep dives into major hearings like this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This is the place where truth meets accountability.